Amid the comforting chirp of birds hovering over trees by the rivers of Panay, the daily grind of forest creatures carry on, as it has for many centuries. Hosting the few remaining intact forests within the island, the Northwest Panay Peninsula Natural Park is the best hope for the survival of highly endangered species and inhabitants of Western Visayas. Sixth among the largest islands of the country, Panay is geopolitically divided into 4 provinces: Aklan, Antique, Capiz, and Iloilo. On the upper half is the Northwest Panay Peninsula, covering Aklan and Antique. Here is where we find the most extensive and best quality lowland forests, a top priority site for conservation.
Itong Northwest Panay Peninsula Natural Park is a very important resource sa tinatawag nating Buruanga Peninsula, which is composed of 5 municipalities. 3 yung sa Aklan, that is Nabas, Malay, Buruanga. 2 yung sa Antique, which is Libertad and Pandan. So nasa gitna yung PA natin, or NPPNP.
Officially declared a protected area by virtue of Presidential Proclamation 186, the Northwest Panay Peninsula Natural Park is now classified National Park pursuant to the NIPAS Act, as amended by the expanded NIPAS Act of 2018. It is home to diverse endemic species of flora and fauna. Here you will find the Visayan leopard cat, the Visayan warty pig, the spotted deer, the Negros bleeding heart dove, the blue-naped parrot, the Visayan hornbill, and Walden's hornbill, and the Panay monitor lizard.
Ang isang flagship na species namin dito na parang dito na-identify, which is endemic, is the Baranos mabitang.
Hectares of old-growth forests survive in the area, including tall, undisturbed dipterocarps, lower montane and bamboo forests. These constitute some of the last relatively intact watershed systems in Western Visayas.
May mga caves tayo dito, marami tayong mga streams at saka rivers. At yung kamangha-mangha siguro yung forest cover. No? May mga time na kung nandoon ka na sa loob, makikita mo yung mga malalaking kahoy. May mga ferns na malalaki. At kung minsan, mayroon kang makikita na mga insects na ngayon mo pala makita. Di ba? So it's really exciting when you are a nature lover to trek inside the Northwest Panay.
Dito mo na lang po makikita yung mga endemic at endangered species. Tulad na lang po ng mga tinatawag nila dito bangkalawag, batiti. Tsaka hindi lang po yun, napakarami po ng mga halaman dito na masasabi natin na dito mo na lang talaga makikita at dito na lang, ito na lang ang tanging lugar na hindi pa nakakalbo, at kung makikita mo po pag pumunta ka rito, kakaibang klima dito, malamig compare mo kung pumunta ka doon ng bandang south.
As an important watershed, the forests within the natural park channel the water from the rains into a system of springs and rivers that provide water for over 100,000 inhabitants. Water for Boracay Island and the hundreds of thousands of tourists that visit there every year is provided by the Northwest Panay watershed.
Yung tubig ng Boracay galing po sa Northwest Panay. Pinapump yun ng mga water companies papunta ng isla. So without this Northwest Panay, wala po tubig yung Boracay.
Like many of the country's natural parks, major threats that confront Northwest Panay's existence come in the form of habitat destruction due to overexploitation of lumber resources.
Una-una, conversion ng lupa mula sa kakahuyan, ginagawa nilang agricultural land, cuttings or girdling, tsaka hunting, yung hindi maiwasan po, yung dinadayo ng taga-ibang barangay na hindi naman na-orient, pumapasok na hindi naman natin mabantayan lahat. Yun po ang na-encounter namin tuwing magpapatrol kami. Diyan po sa isang barangay, mag-i-establish kami ng 2 kilometers transit lane. Diyan kami nag-o-observe ng iba't ibang flora at fauna. Tsaka meron po yan 2 hektarya na observation area. Diyan namin ino-observe yung kung anong oras pumupunta diyan ang karamihan na tirik, karamihan na hornbill, o iba't iba uri pa po ng mga ibon.
Within the last decade, however, illegal logging in the area had become well organized, with operators using silencers on their chainsaws, employing local informants at strategic points to warn them of approaching officials.
Maraming dito, mga illegal loggers as they call it, or poachers, no? May mga chainsaw sila, tapos yung hanap buhay nila ay magputol ng kahoy. But the impact of climate change, nafe-feel na nila itong climate change na nangyayari sa atin ngayon. So there was a drastic change sa kanilang hanap buhay. Alam niyo po ngayon, sila ay hindi na timber poachers. Sila na po ang hina-hire ni DNR na magtanim ng kahoy at saka mag-grow ng seedlings. At saka yung isang maganda pa nilang ginawa, nag-form sila ng isang kooperatiba. Isa po itong nakita kong successful story namin, na itong mga grupo na ito, from illegal things na ginagawa na nakaka-affect ng PA natin, nagiging positive yung nangyari.
Dito po sa Butong Kalibugan Tribe, bilang po ng barangay ngayon, ay pinagbabawal ko po talaga na magputol ng mga kahoy sa bundok. Kasi isa po yung na-cause ng flooding, pagbaha. At yung ating mga taga-DNR naman, ay may mga programa po sila dito na nagpapatanim ng mga puno sa bundok. At yan naman po ay suportado ng mga tribo na mga nakatira po dito sa Butong Kalibugan Tribe.
Pinakamabuting paraan para ma-conserve, ma-minimize o totally ma-eliminate yung mga illegal activities, talaga dapat may continuous talaga na education, or ipaintindi mo talaga sa kanila kung bakit kailangan na hindi mo putulin yung puno.
Ideally, the close coordination among local and national institutions involved in the protection of the area is spearheaded by the Protected Area Management Board, or the PAMB, as well as councils like the Northwest Panay Biodiversity Management Council.
Kung minsan nagka-clash kayo ng ideas within the board. But at the end of the day, you have to settle down and move forward kung saan ba tayo papunta. Sabihin natin, when it comes to extractive activities, no yan sa loob ng PAMB. Tapos, ang pwede lang doon, yung mga sustainable na gawain.
Stakeholders within the locality are the first to be involved in livelihood projects and activities.
Sila po ay binibigyan po namin ng livelihood program gaya ng boko pie making, papaya pickles making, and banana chips making. Yan po ay tinuturo po namin sa kanila at binibigyan po namin ng initial capital through po sa pagbibigay po ng mga gamit para po pag-umpisa po ng kanilang livelihood program. Tapos po, mayroon po kaming information campaign sa bawat barangay po.
Transforming the park and its nearby attractions into ecotourism destinations is now a priority.
Kami dito sa Nabas na side, with the establishment of the wind farm, which is now attracting local, even foreign tourists, gusto ko i-integrate yung protected area as additional destination. Itong ecotourism, dapat in principle, punta ka lang doon sa loob ng forest. You just enjoy the place, the scenery, and what you see, but you should not take anything and leave anything there, especially yung basura nyo.
While the need to implement disaster risk reduction measures has moved inhabitants and stakeholders to protect the park, what remains to be seen is a sustained effort to protect it from bigger, foreboding threats like commercial mining outside the park's confines and continuous animal poaching.
Pag wala na po itong Northwest Panay Peninsula, hindi na po natin makikita yung lalong-lalo na yung mga huling henerasyon. O baka makikita na lang nila pangalan na lang ng kahoy sa libro, hindi na nila makikita yung aktual tulad ng mga lawaan, yung mga binanggit ko kanina. Pag may mga huling henerasyon, wala na pag hindi natin naiko-conserve ito tulad ng mga baboy ramo, sa libro na lang nila makikita o dito makikita pa natin yan dito sa Northwest Panay Peninsula.
Today, at the heart of the Northwest Panay Peninsula Natural Park, the biggest hope lies in the concerted efforts of enlightened inhabitants and the strong political will of its passionate leaders.
This is not a one-person crusade. This is a crusade of all the people, of all the stakeholders in the area. At the end of the day, masasabi ko siguro, ang tao dapat ma-provide ng local government ng sapat na pangangailangan para hindi na sila pumunta sa bundok.